Let's see, we've got Skype phone calls, FaceTime chats, Zoom conferences, and some of you are even wading into the pool of YouTube for the very first time. Part of the new normal, I think, is our ability to communicate via video, whether it's a personal chat with grandma on FaceTime, or whether it's getting in front of your clients in order to be able to make some sort of a presentation in a conference setting, or maybe even reaching out to potential customers and clients via YouTube. We've all got to learn how to communicate via video. It looks like it should be so simple, doesn't it? Until you try it. And then all of a sudden you realize this is more complicated than it looks. Well, I'd like to suggest a couple of things that you can do that will improve your presence and your presentation on video. Now, first of all, let me say very clearly, I'm not talking about going out and spending a lot of money. I'm not talking about hiring an acting coach or a dialogue coach to help you work through these things. I'm talking about some simple steps that you can take as you make simple videos or as you communicate via Zoom, FaceTime, or Skype. Ready for the first one? It's simple. Let's clean up that audio. I know we're talking about video presentation. The image is everything, right? No, the message is everything. If your client or your customer or your grandma can't understand what you're saying, or if there's some ambient noise that's so distracting that person can't focus on your message, or if somehow your words are garbled and the audio is simply unclear, well, then your video is almost useless. So the first step is just to work on making it sound better. Now, our cell phones all come with a built-in microphone, and they work well enough. In fact, they work pretty well for most things, until we decide that we want to step back a little bit and shoot a video of ourselves. I'm now speaking to you directly through the microphone that's built into my cell phone. It doesn't sound bad, but imagine if I was in one of those rooms with even more of an echo, or if there was some sort of ambient noise in the room, or if I were outside and the wind were blowing. It wouldn't sound nearly as clear as it did earlier. And this is what it sounds like when I speak into about the cheapest lavalier mic I could find on Amazon, which is then connected into my cell phone. You'll notice that the sound is clearer, that we don't have to worry so much about background noises, and that I sound, to use an audio term, more present. In other words, I sound like I'm a little closer to you and a little more engaged. A microphone will cost you about $20. Yes, there are more expensive ones, and you can get into all sorts of fancy audio gear if you'd like. But my suggestion is simply find an inexpensive lavalier microphone that you can plug directly into your cell phone, and it immediately takes care of a world of audio problems. There's some other things that you can do aside from that. Find a room with a carpeted floor, with sofas or bedding or clothing hanging, anything to knock down the echo, anything to knock down that bounce back that makes it sound like we're standing in a big cavern somewhere. That'll help. Find a quiet spot. Turn off the air conditioner. Make sure your computer fans aren't running in the background making noise. You'd be amazed at how much noise is happening right this second that you're really not conscious of. But when you see it and you hear it on video, it's a distraction. So work on audio first. Second, let's talk about light. In photography and in videography, light is everything. We want to make sure that you are well lit, and we want to make sure that you're well lit from the right side. First of all, avoid big bright windows behind you or big open blue skies behind you. You want to make sure that you are the brightest thing in the image. And when your cell phone sees all of that bright sunlight coming through that window behind you or coming from that big bright blue sky behind you, it's going to do everything it can to try to fix the picture. And in the end, you wind up looking like a silhouette. Now, if you're trying to look like you're in witness protection or in one of those Dateline interviews, that's fine, but that's probably not your goal. So you want to bring that light around and make sure that the brightest light is in front of you, not to your side. Side light is great for photographing men with character in their faces. You know, years of experience or years out on the range or whatever it might be. That light looks great on certain kinds of men. But if you're a woman of a certain age, In fact, you don't even have to be that much of an age. You don't want that side light. In fact, most men don't want that side light. So bring it around front. The larger the light, the softer the light, the better you're going to look and the happier you're going to be. Another point here, make sure the light is as high or higher than your eyes. If the light source begins to drop too low, we start to look like we did back at camp, sitting around the campfire telling ghost stories with the flashlight under our face. We're accustomed to seeing light come from above. Sunlight is above. The lights in our rooms are from above. So make sure that your light is in front of you and a little bit higher than your eye line, and you'll look great. The third consideration is what I'm going to call presence. And that means how you look and how you come across on camera. Just a few quick guidelines here. Number one, always look into the camera. Now, if you're using your cell phone like I am right now, and you're using it with that front-facing camera, that selfie camera, the great temptation is to look at yourself as you record. Now, the problem is my screen and my camera lens aren't exactly lined up. If I look at my screen, well, I can see myself now, but I've suddenly diverted my attention away from you. And you are the most important part of this video, right? So I want to maintain that eye contact at all times. I want to make sure that I maintain a pleasant expression at all times. Smiling is a good thing. In fact, smiling helps us to engage, it helps us to relax. So work on that smile. It may take a little while, especially if you're not used to these sorts of things, but work at it. It'll be worth it in the end. Secondly, make sure that you're cognizant of where you are in the frame. Now, our temptation is to take our head and pull it right into the center of things. How's that look? It doesn't look right, does it? There's too much up here. So we want to pull ourselves up. Imagine as you look at the frame, as you look at the scene, that there's a tic-tac-toe board with lines drawn about here and about here and about here and about here. Each of those lines at about 1/3 of the frame. Can you imagine that? Now put your eyes on that top line and everything else will pretty much fall into place. I would recommend keeping yourself basically in the center of the frame. It's not the worst thing if you don't, but keeping yourself in the center just makes everything look balanced and even, and it's what we're accustomed to seeing. Thirdly, keep your camera at your eye line. You want to be looking directly into the camera. If you use your laptop camera, and you've seen this look, right? Where suddenly we're looking almost up someone's nose. And that sort of a look, when we're looking down at someone, gives an air of superiority that you probably don't want to convey. If the camera is too high and we're looking up, and we have a tendency maybe to do that because we think it's going to stretch something out and make us look better or whatever it might be, we look strained and we don't look as natural as we ought to. So eye to eye. Put your camera directly on that eye line, look straight into it, don't blink, and if you do, look back as quickly as you can and smile. It'll help. I hope these 3 little suggestions will help you as you put together videos in the future, take part in more video conferences, or whatever it might be. If you've got other suggestions or questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below or drop me an email. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks.